Hi everyone. It has been 4.5 months probably since I last posted on any electronics projects. Did end up taking pretty much the summer off of electronics. Ended up having some minor flooding in our home and had to redo some flooring in our basement, and also picked up a new summer hobby sports car and been doing a little bit of road racing type of classes and things like that with that car. But anyways, that is all getting put away. Stuff on the home is done. And really, I'm now going to find myself with some time again to get back into electronics projects. So I had left off with this Zynq-7000 PCB, and one of the last videos I shared was really receiving in this PCB. I did a quick just video about it and parts that I've received in, and should be ready to start assembling this. Now, I'm not real experienced at this. I've done some surface mount stuff in the past, but nothing that's extensive or definitely to this degree. And this specific project is by far the most advanced thing I've ever worked on. So we'll see how this goes. I think what I'm going to do on this board is focus on two types of ICs that I want to get soldered on first. And the first would be FPGAs, or BGAs in general. So I've got the main SoC here, so system on chip, that I'm going to have to get soldered on. Plus I have this pair of DDR ICs that I need to get soldered on there. The other type that I don't care a lot to do soldering with are these QFN packages, and so I have some of those. Here's a QFN that's to help me with the SD card. I got another one to help me with this USB connection I've got over here. And then also an Ethernet transceiver down here. I'm just scanning this. I think the only other QFN package I have is probably on the back side of this, which would be really for the what is right here, this QSPI flash. And what my intention is then is really just to try to get soldered on all the top side BGA and QFN packages first. So again, these three, I'll go over to the 3D for a second. So that would be the SoC, the pair of DDRs, also this Ethernet transceiver, USB PHY, and then this TXS for the micro SD card. So that's what I'm going to start with and see if I can just get that soldered on using my IR oven. So these BGAs, pretty much place them and run them through the oven. I don't have a stencil for these QFNs. I'm going to just simply use a solder paste, do my best, and run those through the oven at the same time as these other three BGAs. And then from there, I'll do my best to maybe check for any shorts, do my best to see if I've actually got some decent soldering. But then after that, probably in the next video, what I'll do is start populating my voltage rails and a bunch of the little miscellaneous components. Now, I generally want to load up stuff a little by little and not put on unnecessary things, especially if I find a major issue with the board and have to scrap it. So like these major connectors, the SD card, the USB, the RJ45, none of that stuff I'm going to even worry about populating at this point. Really going to try to just start with the basics and probably see if I can just use this JTAG to get this programmed, or even to be able to read it and start working with it. I am putting on these three, again, QFNs, with the risk that I have bigger problems before I even get to using those. But that's fine. I suppose I could potentially solder those on later with a hot air gun to the rework station. But I think for now, I'm just going to go ahead and solder those on. Alternatively, what I could do is just come back to those later. So I'm actually thinking about this right now, whether or not I want to try to solder these on now and potentially have issues and not get to those, or just try to add those later when I have some maybe basic functionality working a little bit. I don't need the USB PHY, I don't need this micro SD card, I don't need Ethernet, any of that stuff to get me going. So maybe, I guess, as I'm thinking out loud, I might just start with just these three ICs right here. And then I will have to hand solder on this flash on the back pretty early. But I'll start with that. I'll come back to other things. Any of these other ones that are these types of ICs, like if I jump down to this one down here to get me into so that I can program it through USB. These type of QFPs, I'm not so worried about. I've been able to have good luck soldering those. So any of the QFP type of ICs, I'll add those as I need them, as it makes sense, like this one up here for HDMI. But the power, I think all that I'm going to do by hand, just a little by little. And I'll have to put a bunch of these tiny little caps on the back. I got a lot of 201s there, and I'll work on that as I go here. But that's going to be my step one here, is just to get some of the basic ICs populated, then come in and start filling in power. Probably just the power that I need, and actually maybe I need all of that right away. We'll see. Get the basic, fuses put in place, anything else I need to get power, basic filtering capacitors, etc. Make sure I don't have any shorts, and then see if I can get to the point of recognizing the device through JTAG. So that's what's in my mind right now, I guess. I could find out as I get into this that is all very bad planning, but that's my goal, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and kick over and start working on that here on this board right here. Okay, fresh out of the IR oven and still fairly warm. As far as I can tell, this looks like it soldered decently. So all I can really say for that is, so far I think that is fine, but I really won't know until later. And maybe I can flip to a better zoomed in version here. But this is what I have so far then. So the sock is soldered on. It looks like position-wise looks quite good. And then the pair of DDRs look like they're soldered on in a good position based on just the silk screen. So I'll know more later, I guess, as I get in to try to start actually using that. But that's where I'm going to stop this video. I guess I'll pick up later then and start connecting in my power, and also get this JTAG connector in, and any other miscellaneous, I guess, things like fuses. I'll put on some of these capacitors here for the sock. Probably should do the same thing for the memory, just filters. And maybe I'll get the QSPI flash put on too. So I'll start with that next, and then I can see what's needed after that video to actually try to get some basic functionality. I will also have to do some just ohming out of this later, just to make sure I don't have any obvious shorts that are going to cause problems out of the gate. But I'm not going to worry about that until I get into starting up with working on these power rails. So good for now.